Here we're still working on the construction of the complete plan, the true shape and the end elevation of a truncated solid. Here we have a square-based pyramid, though we also worked on the same square-based pyramid. But what makes this different from the first one is the way the square-based pyramid is positioned. Unlike the first one, that let me show you. We have it here. So look at how this is positioned. Okay, so you can see that this is just what this is just a normal square. Okay, but now so we now have this square. So it's positioned in this form. Okay, so we are we going to have something different from the one I just showed you? Are we going to have something different in terms of how the complete plan will look, how the true shape will look, and how the end elevation will look? We are going to see it here. Whether they will be different or not, we are going to see it here. But what we are to look at first, let's talk about the dimensions that we have on the plan and also the front elevation. In the plan, we still have this length to be 50 millimeters as the length of the square. We have the height to be 70 millimeters. The cutting plane is at angle 30 degrees to the horizontal, and also the cutting plane touches this side at a distance of 10 millimeters from the base of the pyramid. Now, what we are to do first for the construction here is that we need to replicate these views starting from the plan and the way it is positioned. Now, when a square is positioned in this form, please watch the first video for you to get the clarity about what we are doing here between the one I did first as a square pyramid and this one that we are doing here. Okay, so for this particular positioning of the square-based pyramid, for us to draw this square, so we need to make use of Pythagoras theorem to determine the value of the length or diagonal of this square. So which I've done, as I said, so we have the square root. We have to find the square root of the square of 50 plus square of 50. So when you sum them together, that is 50 square plus 50 square. That will give us what? That will give us in total, it will give us 5,000. Then when you find the square root of 5,000, it will give you 70.7, but we don't approximate in this case, so we take it as 70 millimeters. That is the length of diagonal of this square. Then we now divide that 70 by 2, which will give us 35. 35. Sorry, it will give us 35. So it is that 35 that we are using to get this square as we see it here. Look at how we are going to get it. So what we have to do first is to draw a vertical center line. So we draw a vertical center line. So here we have a vertical center line here now. So this is a vertical center line. So I have it like this. Now, so I will draw a horizontal center line. So we draw a horizontal center line like this. All right, so here we have the horizontal center line. Then with the compass, we now take a measurement of 35 millimeters on the ruler. A measurement of 35 millimeters on the ruler. So here is my 35. So here I have this to be 35 millimeters. This is 35 millimeters. I'll put a pin on the compass here. So make an arc here like this, okay? And then make an arc here. And then I'll make an arc down here. And I'll also make an arc here. So you may decide to draw it as a circle, but I prefer just to get the point. So what we are to do now, we are going to join this point together. So let's join this point together. So we join these 2 points. So we join them together like this. So we have this. And then so we join these 2 points. We join them together like this. So we have this. Okay. Then I'll come here and join these 2 points together. So we join these 2 points. We join them together like this. And then these 2 points, we also join them together. So we have this. Okay. So this is the square. And if we take the measurement of the length of this square from here to here, you can see that this is 50 millimeters. Okay. So very, very simple. Just follow my instruction and you get it done by the grace of God. Now, so having drawn this square, so we need to draw the front elevation, though this is an incomplete plan of the square-based pyramid that we are dealing with. So we come up a little bit and we draw a horizontal line. Then let's number the point on this square. So if this is 0.1, this is 0.2, this is 0.3, and this is 0.4. So with the set square, so we are going to draw a vertical line, so up here to touch this horizontal line. I will come to this point, we also draw a vertical line to touch the horizontal line, and then we come to this point here, so coming to this point on the center line. Okay, so then we take a measurement of 70 millimeters, which is the height of the square base pyramid. So we are going to connect this point together. This point is made for 3 as we have it here, so join it together with the apex of the pyramid. And also this point is meant for 1, so join this point together with the apex of the pyramid. Okay, so what we have here, this will not be a center line anymore, it will be a thick line like this. Why? Because when I'm looking at the object in this direction, I will see this corner. Okay, I will see this corner and I will see this corner. Okay, why this corner will be hidden from, but this has taken over, so that's why we don't have to draw any short dashes line here because of this. Okay, so this is what we have. Now let's come up the base a bit and take a measurement of 10, and then we have to locate it here on this land side. So make a short line here. As you can see it there, we have marked it there. So we now need to draw the cutting plane, is the next thing that we want to draw. So the cutting plane is at angle 30 degrees to the horizontal. So we add the cutting plane like this. Okay, so here we have the cutting plane as you see it here. So it means that this part is cut off. So we now need to make this line, we make it a thick line from here to here. So make this a thick line from here to here. So make this also a thick line from here to here. And then we also make this baseline, make it a thick line from here to this end. So we have this now. All right, so now we now need to work on the complete plan. As we have taken this off, we are going to see a rough surface here. So we need to show it here in the plan. And to do that, so we need to do some things. And what we have to do first, this is 0.1. As this line, as I said, this line is line 1. So this is 0.1 here. So we are going to draw a vertical line from here. So draw a vertical line from here. So let it come down like this and touch line 1 at this point. So we take note of this point. Okay, then here we have 0.2 and 4, and this is their line, this is their point. Okay, 2 and 4 at this point, but this line is not a slant line unlike this one. So how can we get 0.2 and 0.4? This is what we have to do. So we have to come here with the t-square, and then we draw a horizontal line from here to this side, and then with the compass we are going to take that distance. So we take the compass, so put the pin here, and then we take this distance here like this. Okay, so it is this distance that we have taken that we now bring to the center here to locate 0.4. Okay, so this is 4 up here. Okay, then we have 2 down here. So this point, okay, so just let me call this is point A, and this is point B here. Okay, so here we have what we have, this point, this also 0.2, this is 0.4 here. So I will write D at this point. So now, so what we have to do next is to come to this 0.3 here. So for this line, so we come to this point. Okay, so for 3, so we come to this point, and then we draw a vertical line down like this. Okay, so this point is so this point will be point C as we have it here. So we are going to join this point together. So we join this point together. Please look at the shape that is going to be formed to form here. So we are going to have it formed like this. So we join these 2 points, we join them together like this. Okay, and then so we have this point joined together like this, and then we also have this point joined together. So we have it like this. Okay, so here we have this. So what we have to do next is to hash this surface, but before that we need to make this line from here to here, make the thick line from here to here, make this also a thick line from here to here. So make this line a thick line from here to here, and make this line a thick line from here to here. So they represent the edges of the square. So that's why we need to make them thick lines. So what we have to do now is that we are to show the roughness of this surface here in the plan. So with the 45 degrees square, we have to hash this surface. So produce hatching lines on this surface. Hatching lines are drawn within continuous line, and they are to be equally spaced as I'm doing it here. All right, so we also draw this, and then we move, we draw this, then we move, we draw this line, and then we move, and then we draw this line, and then we also draw this. Okay, so we have completed the plan as you can see it here. Now let's go and draw the true shape of the cut surface. So for the true shape of the cut surface, we are going to draw a line at this point that will be at a right angle to the cutting plane, and also at this point to be at the right angle to the cutting plane. So to do that, since the cutting plane is at angle 30 degree, we have to make use of 60-degree side of the set square to produce the lines. So we come to this point, okay, and then we draw a line in this direction. So we draw a line in this direction, and then we also come to this point here. So we draw a line in this direction. All right, so then we have to draw a line parallel to the cutting plane. So we also need to make use of 30-degree side of the set square. So we come like this, and then so we have to draw a line like this here. So this line that we have here, it represents this middle line that we have here in the plan. So therefore, so this is line 1. So here we have what? We have point 1 here, okay? And then this is 3. So along this line, we have 3 here. So we now need to locate that of 1. We need to locate that of 2 and what? And 4. And before that, I also need to draw a line at this point. I need to draw a line at this point for 2 and 4. So it goes like this, okay? So now I need to locate point 2 and point 4. So we take the compass, we come to this middle point for 2 and 4. So we take this distance, okay? Take this distance, and then we bring it to this midpoint here. So make an arc on this side, make an arc on this side. Okay, so looking at what we have here, so we are going to join this point together. So this is point 2, so here is point 2, and here is point 4. Okay, so then we join them together like this. So we join 1 and 2 together like this, and then we join 2 and 3 together, and then we join 3 and 4 together. Okay, 3 and 4, we join them together like this, and we join 1 and 4, so we join them together. So we have this now. Okay, so what we have to do now, we have to hash this surface, and to do that, take the 45-degree set square to produce hatching lines on this surface like this. All right, so that is it. So this is the true shape. So here we have true shape here. So this is the true shape. So here we have the true shape as you see there. Now let's go and work on the end elevation. For the end elevation, we have to come to this point here. So we come to this point, and we draw a horizontal line in this direction. So we come to this point, we extend this horizontal line, and then we come to this point here. So we also extend this horizontal line. So coming to the base of the pyramid, extend this line. So we come to this point 3, draw a horizontal line here. So come to point 2 and 4, so draw a horizontal line, and we come to point 1, and we also draw a horizontal line. Then we come to the apex of the pyramid here, and then we draw a horizontal line to this side. All right, having done that, the next thing that we are going to do is that, so we have to take the 45-degree set square. So 45-degree set square, so bring it to this point on the front elevation of the pyramid. So this particular point here, then we have to draw a line in this direction. So draw a line in this direction. So then next thing that we are going to do, so this is going to serve as the center line. So let us draw this line at once to go up to the line that came out of from the apex of the cone of the pyramid. So we have what we have. This point is the apex of the pyramid. Then we come to this point. This point contains what? It contains 2. So this is point 2 here. So what we have to do here, we draw a vertical line from here to the base of the pyramid, and we also draw for this one, which is for 4. So draw to touch this point. So okay, let's number this. So this is point 2, and this is point 4. So this point here is for 1, 3. So let's take note of that. So what we have to do now is that we are going to connect this point with the apex of the pyramid, this point 4, connect it with the apex of the pyramid, and this point 2 here, connect it with the apex of the pyramid. We have this. So now to locate point what? Point, the point. So let's locate point 1. So point 1 is here, okay? So point 1 is here, and we have 1 on this line. So this is point 1. So let's take note of that. Then point 2. So point 2 is along this line. So where do we have 2? So we have 2 here. So this is point 2 here. So here we have 2. And point 3. So point 3 is along this line as we have it here. So this is point 3. So here we have 3. And then point 4. Point 4 is along this line. So here we have what? We have 4 at this point. So we connect this point together. Connect this point together. So this is how they be connected. So you join this with this. Okay, so join 1 and 4 together. Then we join 3 and 4. Sorry, oh god, this is point 4. Okay, so that's point 4, sorry. Then this is point, we join 3 and 4 together, and then we join 1 and 2 together like this. We have this, so we need to make this line, so make it a thick line at once. And then this line will be a thick line because we have 3 corners here, 1, 2, 3, that we are going to see. So we also need to make this a thick line from here to here. And the base line also, we make it a thick line from here to this end. So we are not done with the end elevation. So we also need to hash this surface, because as we are looking at the object in this direction, we see the roughness of this surface, and it has to be shown in the end elevation. So with the 45 degrees set square, I'm going to hash this surface. I'm going to hash this surface like this. Okay. So as I said, our hatching lines are drawn within continuous line, and they are to be equally spaced as we have here. Alright, so this is the end elevation as we see it. Is as simple as I've done it here. All you have to do is to practice. When you practice this, become a master at this work. Thank you. Keep on practicing, and God bless you.